So the store itself tries to represent that community. Heavily, our imports are from the continent of Africa. We specialize in 100% authentic fabrics, garments, customization of anything you can think of, and we do with our beautiful garments. So is that right?
Hello. Hello. Hey.
Good.
Great. My name is Dr. Uzo Ahinko. I'm the president of a company called Uzo One International. We are based in Buffalo. Of course, most of you see I'm an accent. I talk fast, bro. I'm originally a Nigerian. I lived in US for over 30 years. I did all my schooling all in US, from undergrad to PhD level. I run a company, happen to be the president of multiple companies, actually. But today, I'm only representing one company, and that is the Uzo One International. We are based in Buffalo. We are international. We design products and import, distribute in the US. We sell in stores like Walmart. We sell in Amazon and multiple other stores nationwide. Of course, we are local. Most people don't know we're local, but we really operate on a high-scale standard nationwide. And I happen to be here today to participate in this wonderful event. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Janet Warren Askew, and this is my husband, Marvin Askew. And I am CEO and he's president of Express Entertainment Studio in the Tremaine Building in Buffalo. And we also run the EXE Junior program over the summer where we teach kids, incoming 7th to 12th graders, what we do in audio and video production, graphic design, photography. And
What did she say?
Wow. You've learned well. Good evening, everybody. My name is Michael McCarley. I'm actually the operating director of what's called the Small Business Education Institute. I've operated for about now 20 years unofficially, 10 years officially. I'm also an early leader. Many of you know me from the business community as I try to provide management and technical assistance to the community throughout the state and several other states in this one information. Ujima and Ujima, two very important words. And Mr. Cummings will definitely know ask us questions that we will be able to hopefully enlighten everybody in this particular room. And by the way, you all know you get your certificates to be hemp growers, just to let y'all know. All right.
Mr. Cummings.
Thank you. I'm happy to see so many people here. The Black Chamber of Commerce is on a mission. That mission is to grow and help develop Black businesses in our community. That challenge is an awesome challenge. We have some very talented people who we have the opportunity and the honor to work with to make this happen. Sustainability is one of the keys that is about growing our community base. We started a little bit late in this game, and the sustainability is very, very important. And the sustainability is what I want to just focus on. Ujamaa is very broad, cooperative economics. We do many things, but one of the focuses is that of the sustainability of our businesses. When you develop a business, it takes a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of money to be there and grow it and be successful. At some point in time, I'm not going to say you get tired, but some things happen that causes you to have to move on. It's very important that you build the nucleus of your business so that when you do move on, that business will not miss a step. In fact, what happens when it goes into the next generation, it steps up. My business is headed now by my daughter as the CEO. She started out as an office manager, and the business has grown, in fact, beyond my expectations. I thought I knew the big picture, but now I'm beginning to see even a bigger picture. And I'm very happy about that. And it allows me to devote my time to the Black Chamber of Commerce, which is very important to me in terms of what we have to do as a community, as a people, in order to grow and be as prosperous in this economic world. So I'm not going to take a lot of time. I just want to say thank you for this opportunity to talk about our favorite subject, Ujamaa, and I'm going to pass this back to
Queen Helene. And thank you very much. Give as many strong black hands as you can all throughout the program. Because they say when it comes to black-owned business and African-owned business, that our community, that's where we fall short and we don't trust each other and we're crabs in the barrel. And tonight, look at our audience, we proved them wrong. All right, Ashe. So I'm gonna move on to the next question. Panelists, we wanna ask you because the panel is quite thorough. And they're so used to talking with business people and handling their business that please keep it to at least, please keep it for now, just for now, because we want the audience, open up to the audience, to 2 minutes per response to each question. And we only have 3 questions and then we're gonna open it up. And Mr. Cummings, he really put the pressure on my back to make sure I stick to that. Ashe?
Ashe.
So the first question is, one more thing. We want to just keep internal prayer and meditation for, we were supposed to have a representative here, Sister Blondine from Gigi's. Unfortunately, she is not feeling well and could not make it. So please, keep her in your prayers. For the next question, what are some challenges with starting and maintaining a family business? What are some challenges? So if you could just name 1 or 2.
Well, we're gonna start with planning. Know what you wanna do, have a good idea. At best, have 3 ideas. But planning is everything. If you do not plan to succeed, then you plan to what?
I think the biggest thing for us was trying to figure out who's gonna play what role. When we first started, he was doing things on his own, I was doing things on my own, and we had to bring things together. So deciding who had what strengths and who would take what roles. And doing that, you really have to kind of be honest with yourself, know what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. And if something is your weakness, then you find somebody who can fill that void. And that's a lot of times we want to take credit for everything and do everything ourselves, and that's not really realistic. Figure out what your weaknesses are and find good, trustworthy people to fill those voids.
Excellent. Another key, okay, good. Another key point about going into business or starting a business is you must evaluate yourself. It has to come within. Don't just think about the money. Money is not going to come if you don't know what you can do. It is a big challenge. You may have a family, they want to be with you. Your friends are watching football or whatever it is, games they love to do.
Right.
You have to discipline yourself where you have to leave them to go and really do that which you love. And then later on money will come.
I would say the hardest part, I think, is the actual start. Just because of how we were divinely created, we all have a purpose, we all have a mission, and I think we get lost sometimes in how to actually execute the mission and how to actually go after it. So having and finding and maintaining the courage to not only start, but then continue. Because I'm sure every entrepreneur up here has quit 10 times a day, if not more. But it's really making that decision to constantly keep going and really fulfilling what your purpose is and going after that earnestly. The second part I would say would be to really have not tunnel vision, but really to stay in your lane. Too often we're looking to the left, we're looking to the right, and we get so distracted by what everyone else is doing, we actually put ourselves in a position where we halt. Because we're like, everyone's doing that, everyone's doing this, and there's no such thing as an oversaturated market. Whatever God created you to do it earnestly, and do it with everything, and you'll succeed.
Okay, I can only tell you what has worked for us. I mean, it may not be a general statement, but what has worked for us is that we believe that the borrower is a slave to the lender. And we avoided loans and reinvested our revenues into the company and paid ourselves very little most of the time. And we found that it helped minimize the risk of whatever you did, because if it went bad, then you wouldn't have to be concerned about paying a loan back on top of the failure. So that's worked for us. We will go into the next question, and again, we just want to keep reaffirming that upstairs is the Lonnie B. Harrell African Marketplace. Please make sure you go upstairs, and we won't be mad at you if you take a break from here to go upstairs. There are libations upstairs as well, wonderful soup, and rolls and coffee and things like that, so you can refresh yourself and come on back down. Question number 3, how do you keep it business with personal family members so it doesn't threaten profit or clientele? And so I'll just leave it right there.
I can have that one. Well, the biggest thing with me and Janet, we've been married for close to 7 years. We've been married close to 7 years, and we've been in business together for 10. And the thing that worked for us was we had to keep our business separate from our personal lives. For the reason of the fact that to keep a healthy relationship at home, because sometimes I know as business owners we get caught up in working 24/7, of our day, and sometimes it works nonstop, but sometimes you have to sit back and you have to kind of force yourself to stop and know that you have a home life separate from this business life that you have together. So we keep everything for our business inside our studio, everything at our home, and that's what we have to learn to practice ourselves, to keep everything flowing smoothly.
And then as far as dealing with other family members, because anybody that does anything on their own, your family comes to you and it's like, I just need you to do this for me. And you can't stay in business just giving everything away. So we may offer a discount, but in order to get that discount, I need you to now do me a favor. So we operate on the barter system a lot. Bring us some customers, do something to make up for what you're not paying in cash. You help me, I help you, type deal.
Hello. This question is a very hard one. For me, I pretty much don't deal with friends when it comes to my business. I stay away from them. Exactly, because I do better when I go to other people. You have to evaluate yourself, because I have a soft part to myself. My friends come, I'll give it away. So I don't even want to show them my business in the first place. So I stay away from them. However, on a serious note, you can find a way to incorporate them. You can bring them into the business. You can make them demonstrate your product. I give an example. I make unique products. I was the first guy who designed candles, lighting candles with remote controls. I was the first guy that made candles that sing. You never see any candle that sing anywhere. My candles sing Christmas song. I have candles that I call U.S. patriotic candles that actually sing U.S. national anthem. I can design different products. So what I do is my friends come over, I'll give them my product. Here it is. Take it home, no discount. Now their friends see it, they come after my product. I had a building dedication 2 months ago. We purchased a huge building downtown Buffalo. And one of our brother, Reverend, dedicated the building for us. Guess what he did? He talked about my trash can. It was exciting. I made the trash can that I gave you that was remote control. You come to the trash can, you wave your hand, it opens up for you. So this Reverend talked about my trash can that people start calling me about the trash can. You see, that's how you do it. You bring your friends, give it to them a sample, they will actually show it, and you bring more business to you. So that's other strategy how to do it. Don't be scared, don't be afraid to give the gift or discount, because it may bring more business to you. That's my solution to it.
I think this question is multi-layered. Well, the answer for the question is multi-layered. I definitely agree with bartering. Because I own a retail location, y'all be coming in there asking for discounts all the time. But jokes aside, bartering works really well, especially because we're a community. You know, when we deal with cooperative economics, I can help you, you can help me. So if, for instance, I partner with the African American Cultural Center for dancing, you know what I mean? Like, I love when they come and perform for the store. How much fabric do you need? There are ways that we can actually help one another to uplift one another without feeling as though someone's stealing from us. An additional part to that would be to just take some onus. Friends don't ask for discounts. Friends support your business. And I think that's a hard thing to say, but I ain't scared of y'all, so I'm gonna say it, right? But it's important that we support one another because price points are made and put as such so we can survive, so our families can eat, and we want to also be fair to the community. Now, if you allow the person to just give you a discount, then it just makes it sweeter because you support I'm sure the people who actually are behind the counter are more willing to say, you know what, thank you, here's something, take that. And I'm sure we'll do that probably more often than not. Friends, again, I incorporate my friends in my business. Sometimes somebody might need extra hours for the week, and I'm like, you know what? I actually need someone to cover the store for 5 hours. So I'm putting money in their pockets and vice versa. And it's usually people who know who I am, how I am, so they can actually kind of be me while I'm absent. So really just incorporating your friends, your family, your community specifically, and the things that you serve and how we can benefit both of you guys.
I think that you need to be really honest with your family member when it comes to doing business with your family member. You have to be honest about your experience with them and who they are and their habits. And perhaps you might need to have a conversation with them about the expectations of, you know, if I do business with you, I need to be paid timely or not, or, you know, whatever the expectation is. And then also not be afraid to decline the business relationship, because it might not, you still want your family member in the end. So.
I agree with everyone. On a serious note, business is business. And don't get me wrong, and it's one of the things that I've dealt with in the last 20 years. But business is business. You must also teach your family that business is business. You must also get your friends to understand that business is business. When everyone begins to be on the same page, there's not only a clear understanding of what goes on, expectations are actually managed appropriately, but you actually move forward. forward. Doesn't it sound nice? To move forward in the businesses in which we actually engage. All of the things that have been said here are very, very true. But you will hear from me most of the time, everything is about some aspect of business education, some shape and form. And one of the things that has not happened, unfortunately, is the fact that as people of color, we have a certain cultural sensitivity that exists when it comes to business. And this, unfortunately, whereas a lot of other social programs have technically fallen apart. But everybody needs to understand what business actually is. Whether cooperative economics, whether you're a straight capitalist, doesn't really matter. You must understand that you must provide service to another, but therefore service will be returned to you.
Ashe?
Ashe.
Habarigani?
Mujama Hawaii.
All right, wonderful. Now we will open it up for question and answer. In the spirit of Ma'at, which is freedom, justice, balance, order, and many other wonderful harmony, and many other things. Just like the panelists had wonderfully had observed 2 minutes in order to give a response, we ask the same from the audience so that we can get around the audience in rounds of good discussion and get as many folks in who would like to ask a question. And please make sure in the spirit of Ma'at that your question is indeed a question. We cannot hear a resume today, but if you like your resume, please, see the panelists afterward as to where you can email your resume or discuss business or working together with them, because then there will be more time. We will also have Queen Mother Cheryl join the line of panelists as well, so that if anyone has any further questions on that aspect of cooperative economics and business, you can do that. Okay, so, and please, we will try our best in the spirit of the Council Committee to try to observe hands in as much order as we can. So who would like to be the first hand up? Okay, we have a member of the Kwanzaa Committee.
Of course it's Raj Jomo.
Just a question. It's to the panelists, and maybe our assemblywoman could just give us some word of advice. Based upon what might be happening legally in 2019, what should our community that's really serious about fighting against poverty and maybe thinking about cannabis business, our assemblywoman, can you tell us some things that would be smart for us to do or services to take advantage of in our area? Please.
Thank you, brother, for putting me on the panel. But I think, actually, the sister said a lot of that. You should, they all kind of said it. If you're going into business, do what you like doing. I mean, don't want to be a cultivator or a farmer and you don't know anything about farming. Pick the part that you like. If you're an attorney like this sister, she went right into the business. She's already in it based on what she already knows how to do. So figure out what it is you like and move in that direction.
Any questions?
Yeah, I completely agree. Usually when someone comes to my office and they want to get involved in the industry, they're either asking, how can I own a dispensary, or how can I cultivate, how can I grow? And I usually say, if you haven't grown a strawberry or, any type of corn or anything, then I think we need to look at what you're currently doing and see where the opportunity is in the industry based on that. I spoke in the earlier session and I said, the part of the industry that people don't really look at is the ancillary services part. We call the cannabis industry the new green rush, like the gold rush, and during the gold rush, the people who made the most money were the people with the picks and shovels. So look at how you can support the industry. Yes, we want more African-American license holders for sure. But if you can't afford that now, you may be able to look at a stepping stone, such as getting a hemp license, partnering with a farmer for a hemp license, or doing marketing for cannabis, or doing accounting for cannabis by being an expert on tax rule 280E. So there's a lot of ways in. I have a number of ancillary businesses. I don't touch plant. I have a law firm. I have a staffing agency. I have a merchandising line for Nervin.com, and I have a consulting firm, Green Sustainable Strong. Again, I don't touch plant at all. I have all these LLCs that I formed from idea generation just by being in the space. So I'm not unique in that. I think there's plenty of talent in this room that can be utilized to contribute to a robust legal cannabis industry.
Also, panelists, not everyone has to, if you don't want to answer the question, you don't have to. So I just wanted to put that out there just in case you wondered. More questions, more questions. No questions? More, oh, there's one.
Adventure. Okay, my question is what cooperative economics means to all of you, whether it's like the formal legal definition, or I feel like people have referred to it a little bit, but I would just like to delve a little deeper into that if possible.
Cooperative economics to me is, again, the education, the training, the communications between the businesses to learn how to better do what you do. We are not islands, and we do not have all of the information. It is best to know what you do not know, but to train with each other and to communicate. That is one of the most wonderful things. I'm not too old school. I think I'm the second, third, or youngest person on this panel. And back in the day, people got together and spoke to each other. They sat in the barbershops. They still do that. They sit in the salons. Y'all know y'all do that. But everything outside of that, to actually get somebody on the street, as I said, I work with the Buffalo Ribbon League, and I work with a lot of young people. And one of the things that I've come to find is the fact that there are a lot of young people that don't have people to talk to, especially the adults. So to talk, to educate, to learn, to train, to find out what mistakes are made by somebody else so you don't make them. That to me is cooperative economics.
I'd just like to piggyback. I agree with everything you just said. So in addition, I think it's important to know that you don't have to know everything, and to be humble enough to say when you don't know, and to look out and look for other sources of information. I think that was a learning curve for me. I was like a one-woman show, and I did everything because I knew everything, and it was just like, this is my dream. No one can touch my dream the way I can and mold it correctly. And then you have this inevitable thing called burnout. So it's important that you not only look for other businesses that can really pick up and carry the areas where you might be weak at, but to be open to actually saying, this is the area where I'm weak at. So you don't have to do everything. And it's probably best that you don't do everything, because not only does it empower your business, you empower another business. And for sustainability purposes, it's important that we support each other's businesses. I think too often we don't share information at all, which is probably why I had to have my learning curve, because when I started my business, I didn't have a lot of people saying, well, this is how you actually open up a retail store. This is how you find finances. This is how you apply for grants. It was more so, well, I have to figure it out, so you need to figure it out. I think it's important that we we need to get rid of that. And we need to create blueprints for each other and pass them down. Now I'm going on a rant, because we lack in generational wealth. You can see I get passionate about that, right? It's important to pass those things down and to be open about having those blueprints for your family members. So you can have companies where the daughter can take over and boom it in a way that her dad is extremely proud, and that way we can build generational wealth. So that's my input.
Cooperative economics, to me, in theory and also in academics, is what you call leakages. This is a theory that I've been trying to help my black brothers and sisters to learn. White people do it all the time. I have linkages in Africa, I have linkages in China, I have linkages in US. I can call my people in Louisiana and say, hey, I have this contact right now. A guy calls me, a black guy calls me in Alabama. Apparently I met him in Buffalo, he's a farmer. He calls me, Brother Uzo, I have this problem. Walmart closed down. The area is full of black people. There is no job. What can we do? I said, okay. So now he reached out to me. What did I do? I have network. I have people with money. I have people with products. We can come up with different ideas. So you reach out to other people. You must form linkages. And that is how you can grow. You can't do it by yourself. Rome was not built by one person. There are multiple people doing it. In construction, you have the bricklayers. You have the roofers, the electricians. All these guys coming together to do what? To build the building. So why do black people want to do by themselves? You cannot do by yourself. You cannot trust somebody. How do you trust people? Start by trusting them. Start by working with them. So if there's a problem, for me, I know that issues black people have is about money, trusting. I can work with you, and we can set up a contract that protects me and protects you. It's about business. So if I can solve that problem, then we can do any business. I'm not afraid of any kind of business. Anything you call, tell me, I can do it. Just come up with me. Say, hey, I have this idea. People come to me and say, hey, you know, I have this idea. Can you help me? I have factories in China. We can produce them. If you need things in Africa, I can find people right now looking for gold. There's linkages. I don't have to be everywhere. I don't have to do everything, but just through my linkages, I can do things. So that's what I know as cooperative economics. I'm cooperating with you, you're cooperating with me, we're making money. I don't care how much you make, I care about what I make. So don't be greedy, oh, you make too much money, oh, I'm getting a little money. Forget about how much you're getting. Forget about your own, how much you're getting. Don't worry about what they get. Once you can solve that problem, you are on your way to becoming a rich person. That's my solution.
Can't do about the calculation when we deal with that.
I think this is about educating people about their culture. So if you look in the dictionary and look those two words up, it might be kind of self-explanatory what the message is that you have to work together in order to build the economics. You have to work together in order to build the economics. If you think about some people and they're running their businesses right now in the communities that some of us go in every day. Arabs, when they go to buy stuff, they buy it collectively. Yep. And then they share the economic value in doing that. And so I think, well, I don't even think, I know this to be a fact. This Kwanzaa is about educating our people to where we came from and where we should be going. We should be going towards collective economics. Some of us know how that looks because we've been there before. Brother Uzo explained it real well. That's the way it works. A lot of people yet don't understand that. Now, my father used to be in the liquor store business. That's when a lot of black people had liquor stores. And you weren't supposed to be able to go to a dealer or a liquor distributor and buy cooperatively. But they still would share amongst themselves. That was cooperative economics. Now, not that it saved them a whole ton of money, but it did save them. And then it allowed them to make more money. So for me, just the definition of these two words and knowing where our culture needs to be, this is an education process. We gotta work collectively in order to build the economics.
I just want to piggyback off of the education. One of the things that Marvin and I do is the EXE Junior program. And basically we're teaching the young people to do what we do. And our program, we also teach them to work with each other in building their projects and making each other's dreams happen. And it's very important that we teach our young people that they can do business too. You know, we depend too much on the education system to teach our kids. And it's really on us. And so we take the time to teach the kids how to cooperatively work together and build their self-esteem in knowing that if we can start from scratch and do it, they can start from scratch and do it, and giving them some of the skills that they need in order to move forward with some of their own dreams.
I'm sorry. Okay, so question.
I guess you can leave to the panel.
We have about 60 acres of wonderful organic land in North Carolina.
and we're doing nothing with it since my grandmother died and farmed on it 20 years ago. Is there like an organization or some type of, that can connect us to people that want to use farmland? I've never been able to keep a plant living. So as much as in my mind, I think I'm a farmer and I'm waiting for the ancestors to download that to me, but still can't keep a plant alive. So I'd like to talk to you maybe about that, maybe that connection.
Yeah, absolutely. And I thank you for that question. A lot of us came from down south. Our families came from down south, came up north looking for opportunity, and there's still family land down there. I do work in North Carolina. I was recently in Raleigh for the BUGS conference, Black Farmers and Urban Gardeners conference that takes place every year. The year before it was in Atlanta, and I spoke at the one in Raleigh as well. So there's a number of farmers that I'm aware of there. There's a group of a cooperative of entrepreneurs and scientists in North Carolina that I'm developing a relationship with that their objective is to help license holders, hemp license holders, do the research part of things. So there's definitely opportunity. Minorities for Medical Marijuana, we have 25 chapters in the US and 1 international chapter in Jamaica. So I would encourage you to join that organization. I will give you my card so I can kind of share with you some of the activity that we have going on in North Carolina, specifically to hemp at this point. But there's a network. There's definitely a network. There's definitely a community, and I think I would encourage you to learn more about it. You might be able to apply for a license yourself, or maybe partner with a farmer there that doesn't have land or is farming on other people's land where they can farm on your land. I have some clients who are the new sharecroppers where we own the land, and sometimes they're white farmers sharecropping on our land or other people sharecropping on our land. So, I would say look at that land and see how you can make it agricultural. But yes, cannabis is an opportunity for creating a new legacy for your family.
Let me just add, while you're looking at it to see if it can be used agriculturally for cannabis, land is not being used to reforest itself. So you probably have timber on there right now that can be sold. So yeah, there it is.
Habari Ghani.
Ujuma Habari Ghani.
Alrighty, so something that's been on my mind and his mind, that's, I think at this point, more consuming than money is time. How are we balancing, how are we budgeting our time? Especially when you have family, if you're family oriented. Yes, you're supposed to stay focused. Yes, you're supposed to remain diligent. You're supposed to be disciplined. I learned about, just even waking up earlier to give you that little bit of extra time, which is helpful. But how are we managing time as far as, dedicating I'm going to dedicate this amount of time with my full-time job and my daughter who needs attention or what have you, to dedicate this to this business or this business idea, or not burning yourself out from having your hand in too many pots with too many interests. You feel me? You see what I'm saying? Like, how do you?
I'm going to speak really quickly and pass it on because I feel like I've been hogging the conversation. But yes, that's the biggest challenge that we have. 2 challenges for entrepreneurs. 1 is time, and 2 is not having enough resources to make all the creative ideas you have happen, and not having enough people working for you or who can bring your ideas to reality. So the time thing is, I always say #family first. My son is here with me. I took 10 days off to come to New York, here in Long Island, to spend time with my son because I travel a lot. I utilize my plane time. When I'm on the plane, I'm working on the plane. I always pay whether it's $10 to $20 for Wi-Fi on the plane. When I'm in a car, that's when I make my calls, my follow-up calls to my clients and potential clients. So try to utilize as much time as you can, but really be conscious of monetizing your time. So we spoke earlier today when you were in the earlier session about, educate yourself, become a consultant, so that you get enough people paying for your time. And as an attorney, I make hundreds of dollars an hour, but I don't work 40 hours a week getting $100 an hour, but I make sure that I get like a certain amount of hours in a week so I can do what I love, but I monetize a minimum number of my hours per week so I can sustain myself. So figure out how can you monetize your time at the maximum rate, whether it's being a consultant or opening something or however, selling stuff, and then set those minimums, and then the rest of your time, just utilize it as much as possible, but also put in time for self-care and put in time for family.
I gotta say that I have 2 children. They're older now, going to college, both of them. But ever since I've been in business prior to them being on the earth, but I've been blessed with parents that I live in the back in a cottage, and they live in the front. And so they've taken care of my children all the time. It's just been very convenient, and it gives you more time because you're not worrying about where your children are. I don't know what your situation is. I've been blessed that way. Some people don't really have parents that could do that, but I can just tell you how it worked for me, and it ended up that I had more time. I don't think I'd be able to do it without them because of that. So, just a thought.
Well, for me, I actually have an opposite kind of experience. I'm from Brooklyn originally, so I have no family here by a lot. So let me speak to you, girl. So, it's hard. And entrepreneurship, especially on social media, looks so sexy. It looks so amazing, and you're living this lavish life, you clocking when you want, but no, it's hard, and you cry a lot, and I think we should probably be more open about that process. It is a learning curve, and it is painful, but it is worth it. I have 2 small children, a 2- and 3-year-old, and when I before Black Monarchy was in like actual retail space, I was a vendor, and my children were with me at every event, they're only 14 and a half months apart. So I had one on the hip, one in the belly, one in the car seat, so it was rough. It was rough, but it really, for me, now that, they're a little bit older, I still don't have the family support, the familiar support that I would like, but that self-care piece, when you said that, it just spoke to my entire soul. That's my 2019, is self-care, because with self-care, you're going to add people like Gentino, who's behind you. He's part of my 2019 self-care plan. He is a personal trainer, fitness, because you got to get this right? You can't operate half dead, and I had to learn that kind of the hard way. So you got to get yourself together, mentally, physically, emotionally, get yourself whole. And once you're whole, you can actually produce, and produce well, and produce fruitfully. So that self-care piece is 100% on. And then you got to schedule. Scheduling is key. Where I'm at now in my life, if it doesn't make money, sometimes it doesn't make sense unless you are literally out of your heart doing something that's like, oh, this is going to benefit the community, this is going to benefit, you know what I mean? Like those philanthropic things, those things you do. But if it's just kind of like, oh, I'm just going to be around, what are you doing in that time? Everything has to monetize, and it has to make sense for yourself, for your children, so that the more money you bring in, or the more income and financial things that you can actually do, you give yourself room to, maybe I don't have to work that overtime at this other job that's fueling my dream. Maybe I can cut that back for this week because I've made enough money in my entrepreneurship goals. You know what I mean? So it's a whole picture, but it's hard. It's not sexy. It's very hard, and it's really about discipline. Having that discipline, waking up early. You said that I'm starting to get up now at 5 because it just makes sense. Taking your vitamins. People of color specifically, we have poor health. And we want to be at 100, and our bodies are functioning at like 45%.
So we just really can't even compete, honestly. So that self-care is, for me, number one.
Wow, that's good. That's good. You're a lady, I'm a man. I don't know how to describe, how to advise you, but there are key principal things about it. Scheduling. When I started my business, I was doing my PhD. Had a son. He want to play with me. He want to ride on my back. Okay, so it was so crazy in my house that they make a joke of me. I'll have my son penciled in. This time to this time is my time for my son. So that's how it is. So you have to look at your time. Look at 24 hours in the day. What do you do? Even when I was working, my lunch time, I don't hang with my buddies. I don't be talking to them. My lunch time, I'm doing business. It's 1 hour. I use that 1 hour to do business. I don't care about my friends. I'll see them. If I want to talk to my friends, like she said, in my car, I'm driving. Hey, dude, what's going on? So I just mess with them because when I'm doing business, I don't have time. So you have to look at your time, your schedule. Time is very short. Time is precious. So if you need to get up early in the morning, but again, comes to the business you are doing. If you want to do construction or consulting work, you need to be there. You cannot sub it to anybody else. But if you want to sell product, it may not be there. You can sell product online. My product is sold worldwide. I'm here right now talking to you. Talking to you, I'm making money. I don't have employees. It's all online, everywhere in the world. So you have to figure out how to make this thing happen. It's like how do I describe it? It's like a formula. You got to figure out that formula, how to make money. So think about it. When I came to the US in the 80s, they used to sell real estate. No money down, no money down. Everybody was jumping, no money down. Think about it. How do you do this business without money down? So you have to figure it out, come up with the formula. X plus Y to square 2 equal to XYZ. You keep it to yourself. You don't share with nobody. So I'm not going to share with you. So same thing. So I'm going to say, okay, listen, I'm working, I'm busy, I don't have the time. Maybe I can sell my product online, figure out how to learn how to sell on Amazon or your own website. So that is the best thing that happens to small businesses because you can sell online while you're sleeping. The world is seeing your product. They're buying them from everywhere. So you can say, okay, if in Buffalo, I want to be every day hustling, going in my car, selling them. That's you. That's much hard work. You may not have time for that. So look at the business you want to do and figure out your schedule, what best suits you. Eventually, the other business that requires much time, you can go to that business at some point. Maybe you've not made enough money, have more staff, then you begin to shift to that area that you know demands much time. Your kids have grown, so you don't have to worry about that anymore. In fact, they're part of your employee now. You can bring them in to help you. So that is the key thing. Evaluate yourself and then look at how to come up with a formula that works for you.
We will take one last comment from the panel, and then we will go into our closing. But after the closing, for those of you who want to stay back and continue the discussion, please stay back. But we want to encourage time for you all to go upstairs and support the Lonnie B. Harrell African Marketplace. And also for those of you who have to leave, you have time to do that as well.
Okay, I heard somewhere that a creative person without discipline is a lot like an octopus on roller skates. You're going nowhere fast. So I'd like to echo a lot of what the other panelists have said. Planning and discipline. A lot of times we get caught up in busy work. Busy work is, you're constantly running, you're constantly doing things, but your vision is not moving forward because it's not what you're supposed to be working on. If you let life, distract you, it will. You'll get 50 things to do in a day that has absolutely nothing to do with what you're supposed to be doing. So staying focused on what your main goal is and keeping your task directed in that direction, I think is the biggest thing that we've learned over the years, because it's really easy to get caught up. Somebody is always calling, I need this, I need that, can you help me with this? And if you have a good heart, you always want to help other people do other things, And we're both like that. So we had to learn to discipline ourselves and try to stay as focused as possible. And once you lose a minute, you can't get it back. So planning is key. And getting up early, what do they say, the early bird catches a worm? Yeah, that's really true. You know, so plan your day, stay focused, and you'll get where you're going.
I'm gonna make it short. I will tell you what I tell everybody else. Most people don't like to hear it. The reality is there's a trade-off. Whatever you do, there is a trade-off. Trade-off doesn't necessarily have to be negative, but there is a trade-off. And you have to understand that trade-off, which is why planning becomes so important. Time management, i.e. the scheduling, which has been mentioned, is enormously important. As your children are, how old are your children? 6? Just in time. You teach them what you do. Get them into the habit, because there will be less resistance from them getting older wanting to take because you've made, as opposed to learning to earn what they need to get.
I say.
Give a hand for our cooperative economics panel. We will bring up our host, our king and queen, and we also want to remind you about the marketplace, but also in the spirit of cooperative economics, the Buffalo Kwanzaa Committee has a journal called Living Kwanzaa. It's on sale, I believe, for $2. And in it is not just a journal with advertisements, but there are also business cards and information on area businesses that you can take with you and use throughout the year. So again, that's another reason to please make sure you go upstairs. And Jomo, where is the elevator at?
It must be down the hall, straight down this way, after you go out and then you go straight and then left.
Okay, all right, so once you curl around and go down the hall, there is the elevator so you can take yourself upstairs to the marketplace.
Northwest Bank. And one more of our primary sponsors of the journal was actually Northwest Bank, who's actually opening a financial literacy center on Jefferson, and they're going to be doing lectures with the Juneteenth about financial literacy right after the holidays, so we can start talking about how to plan our money, whether we have a little or a lot, but how do we plan and manage money so that we also can save a little time by not burning, too much out. So be looking for that. They're going to be doing a whole lot about financial literacy, something that we also don't talk about in our community. We just go from struggle to struggle sometimes, and we burn through a lot and don't realize how much we can save even with a little bit. So we're going to be talking about that within that financial literacy center on Jefferson Northwest Bank.
Strong black hand for Northwest. Talk with Northwest. Sister Trina Burris is a wonderful connection.
Habaragani. Ujama Habaragani.
Now we're going to do the Tam Sheila Tutu. Now we're going to do the Tam Sheila Tutu Onana, the farewell statement. Please stand. Strive for discipline, dedication, and achievement in all you do. Dare to struggle and sacrifice and gain the strength that comes from this. Build where you are and leave a legacy that will last as long as the sun shines and the water flows. Practice daily. Repeat after me. Unity. Self-determination. Collective work and responsibility. Cooperative economics. Purpose. Creativity. And faith. May the wisdom of the ancestors always walk with us. May the years end meet us laughing and stronger. May our children honor us by following our example of love and struggle. At the end of next year, may we gather again in larger numbers with greater achievement and closer to liberation and higher level of human life. Hold your right hand in the air, fingers apart, then pull down into a strong fist 7 times while saying Harambe from open to close. Harambe!
Harambe! Harambe! Harambe! Harambe! Harambe! Harambe!